Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry, if you're not sober or you're not ready to be sober, or if you're wanted by federal ICE agents like Corey, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense. My name is Sean, a lot of nonsense actually. My name is Sean and I'm your host. I'm joined at the moment just by the fellow trudger, Mr. G.A. Phillips. We're not quite sure where the other boys are. Like I said, they could be running from federal immigration and customs enforcement agents as we speak. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our videos will be posted each week so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle at Trudge Report Pod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Greg, good evening. The duo, the Rat Pack. What's up? How are you?
Not too bad, man. Living the dream. Happy Monday or Thursday for when you guys are listening to this. Things are good, man. We're gearing up for back to school here at our place, and our wonderful sometimes commentator Peyton is eager to start the third grade. He's also killing it right now in ball practice. So we're getting ready to gear up for the season of that. He has his first game this upcoming weekend. So
Nice.
Pumped for that.
What position is he playing mostly?
Well, so they haven't doled out assignments just yet. So we're probably going to get word on that this week. I think some of the quarterbacks and the receivers are kind of set, but other than that, they haven't really doled out positions. So they got
He's
the
what,
boys
9? He's 8, 9.
He's 8. Yeah. So it is, like it was with all of us, and certainly I keep reminding him it's different when you go for tackling, tackle football the first time, and you don't know, like, can I actually get angry and tackle these kids? Should I not? Should I be apprehensive? It's so but dude, the coaches out there are like, they're like drill sergeants, dude. They're getting into them. So it's been pretty cool and fun and whatnot to watch.
What is his ideal position? What does he like to play?
He's solid at running back, dude. He can hold the rock without fumbling it, and he's nice. Good once he's got a clear lane, So it's nice. Like I said, it's all just an adjustment point for learning how to transition from flag football, where there's not the contact, to now having all the extra contact there. But he's doing really good.
He's going to get cracked one of these days and welcome to real life, big boy.
It's funny though. He likes roughhousing around here, and he loves, showing off his little dings and bruises once he gets past the pain of them.
Tell him the chicks dig it. The chicks dig the scars and the bruises, baby.
Of course. So I do want to bring up real quick. I know I was hating on new horror movies last week. Went and saw this movie Lauren and I did over the weekend called Weapons. It's out in theaters now.
Yeah, I've seen previews for that.
Fantastic.
Really?
And I would give it a solid 7.9 out of 10. It might be higher. But it's one of those that sits and resonates with you for a little while. But just a really good organic horror movie, and go in. I watched one trailer for this movie, and that's all I want. I didn't want to, because I had a feeling it was going to be good, but I didn't want it spoiled for me. Going cold. It was awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Nice.
The other thing, and welcome Mr. Missioner to the pod. Good to see him as always. The other thing I wanted to bring up, perfect timing, Corey. I know about a year ago. What's he doing?
He's dropping in just like the cartel drops loads of drugs in.
Yeah, dude. He came out of the ether. Boy came right out of the ether.
All packaged up.
All dressed in black like a ninja.
Just stop it.
Yeah, so I think it was probably about a year ago. We did a little segment on driver's etiquette and whatnot. And as you boys know, I recently moved, so that is adding, a good like total drive time for the day of about an hour onto my existing. And so I spent a lot more time on the road. And in doing so, I have identified another list of people that I feel do not belong in the fucking left lane. All right. So let me go ahead and review those for you real quick. This is in addition to all those other ones I mentioned about a year ago. If you don't know, go back, give it a listen. It was an excellent episode. So if you are anyone over the age of 80, okay, you probably shouldn't be on the road at all, right? But if you are not the left lane is not the place for you. Mazda, crossover, or Subaru drivers, out of here.
Ooh, Corey, that's almost
and
you.
I know
You're not a Mazda crossover, but you are Mazda.
We're teetering the razor's edge with that one, Corey. But I'm going to tell you, I'm seeing a disproportionate amount of just idiotic Subaru and Mazda crossover vehicles in the left lane.
Do we think that's geographical to the Midwest, or is this all across the Subaru Mazda crossover?
Well, you guys have an entirely different breed of bad drivers down there.
I'm a fan of the Subaru. I'm a fan of the in general, but
yeah,
I don't have
I rented one on our Washington trip for the boys, and I got roasted for it for the next 6 months. So,
well, no, we wanted to fit in.
Well, literally, that's the only vehicle to rent in the Pacific Northwest. You got
see nothing.
Subaru. That's it.
And your occasional Prius.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't do that. You won't see me in one of those.
Russian long haul truck drivers. Get out.
We all know one of those.
Yeah.
Greg, they don't exist, Greg. That's a mess.
They do.
There's one of them.
Literally anyone that's rented a moving vehicle from Home Depot or U-Haul. Okay.
Oh, the do-it-yourself movers, yeah.
The DIYs, the state of the right, pal.
Never good.
Asian women, you guys are terrible. Call me what you want to call me for that.
Nothing against the Asians in general, but just the women drivers. I got it.
My God.
I have a couple things against Asians, but
you're part Asian, aren't you, Corey?
No.
The little
listen, you make wonderful food. You are terrible at driving. So
they kill cats.
And then just a little tongue in cheek, maybe an inside joke with our producer, but certainly egotistical Chamber of Commerce members. There's a special place in hell for you. Get off
the road.
Get fucked, stay fucked. Have a nice day.
There you go. Very nice, Greg. Thank you for that. Corey, my man. I had a great intro for you that you're going to have to go back and listen when the episode comes out.
I don't listen to this crap.
Great intro for you. One of my better ones, I think.
Don't catch me dead listening to the Trudge Report.
How are you? Why are you so late, Corey? What happened? What's going on?
Well, I got roped into helping move stuff for Lucie's dance school.
That's a good thing to do.
It is a good thing to do. I'm glad it's over, though.
Were you moving your body?
Yeah, and heavy flooring.
Okay.
It was ridiculous. But no, they're great though. And honestly, they're one of the cheaper ones in probably ever. So I don't mind doing the volunteer work to keep it that way,
How was the first day of school for the kiddos?
Painful. Dude, absolutely painful.
Really?
Yes.
Am I not surprised? Go ahead, do tell.
It's not my fucking fault, Sean. Dude, we get up, everything's going okay, and
now hold on. We know you've defected to St. Lucie County. Are they in St. Lucie County schools, or are they still doing Martin schools?
No, I would like them to have a future ahead of them, so they're in Martin County schools.
Okay. So you have a decent commute ahead of you, essentially.
Yeah, I've learned some things about St. Lucie County that makes me hate it more, but
yeah.
Maybe we'll get into it. Who knows?
You're not wrong.
Oh, it's awful. But anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. Long story short, we put up Noah's hair because it's long and I want to get it cut, but somehow I'm outvoted. And
Gabby does count for at least 2 votes,
and she sways the kids.
Yeah.
So
they like her better.
Yeah.
That's
So
The kids get a vote?
I don't know. I really, this is my first time doing all this. I don't know.
They get it, Greg. They get a vote. Kids do get a vote, but you can choose as the parent to count their vote or not.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So he flipped out. Our picture, our first day of school picture, he is pissed. Did you see it, Greg?
No, but I need to. Is it
Okay.
is it in one
seen
of
it.
our threads?
No, it's on Facebook, but
Beautiful.
I'll fire it in the thread.
Yeah.
Um
Noah doesn't play around. He ain't one to play no games.
oh dude, it was something else. Is this around the horn?
Yes.
All right, I got a bitch about something real quick. So I don't think I mentioned it at all, but I got blood work done like a month ago or something like that. And
just for all those listeners who don't know, this is because Corey's been worrying about his own mortality for a good 6 to 8 months.
no, but that's happening. That you're right about that. But that is not why the blood work happened. The blood work happened just to establish a primary doctor because I said, okay, I'm going to be 30, and I do have a few things I want to do.
Getting old.
And I need my Xanax prescription filled. So
don't forget your muscle relaxers.
Yeah. So I got blood work done. They do it right there in the doctor's office. Okay. So this is a month ago. I go in, whatever. I've never had a problem with blood work. I don't love it, but like I'm fine. It give me a little prick and we're done. Fine. Okay. They couldn't hit my veins. They could not hit, dude. I'm gonna skip over a bunch of details. By the end of it, they had 3 nurses in this room. None of them could hit. And I told them, like,
let me do it. Let me show you. You said, let me show you how to do this.
Well, no, but I said, listen, I was a drug user and blah blah blah, so they might not be great, and I never had good ones to begin with, so I'm sorry. I almost passed out for the first time ever. I almost passed out getting blood drawn because she's in my left arm digging around, just digging around, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And like, so I'm like, I'm getting a little nauseous. She's like, okay, let's take a break. I'm like, good idea. The walls start closing in on me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out for the first time ever.
Did you eat?
No, it was fasting. I had to fast. The only thing I could have done was drank water. I didn't really drink much water before that. It was early.
You had to fast before it?
You got to fast before most blood work. Yeah.
Hmm.
So whatever. Now, okay. I'm not cutting them up. They're fine. I'm sure they're fine nurses and doctors and stuff. But like, and I know I'm just difficult.
They were just having a rough day.
Okay, so fast forward to today. I have to get the blood work redone because the couple of things they want to see level off, whatever. And I go in. They stick me twice, and this is a different lady altogether. I didn't have this lady before. She sticks me twice and she goes, listen, I'm not gonna keep sticking you. You're just gonna have to go to Quest. And I'm like, okay, great. So I don't know, dude. I'm tired of being a pincushion, Sean.
I get it, Corey. I get
it. Are they really that difficult to find? Like legit?
I mean, enough that I know 4 medical personnel that could not. I mean, so a month ago they obviously got it done. But what I told them, I said, listen, the secret is you got to go in my hand. And I know this. And
because I'm an intravenous drug user.
Yeah. So she went in my hand, and
shout out.
Not only that, it was weird as shit, dude. I think my blood is thick because like it was coming out real slow. She ended up getting
the only thing on you this thick, boy.
She ended up getting a syringe and drawing it out, Sean. What the fuck is happening?
I don't know. It's crazy. Did you get the results yet?
I got those results you're already aware of.
Oh, okay.
I have to go tomorrow to Quest to get the second batch done. That way I can see if I'm dead or not.
Well,
so,
well, Godspeed to you, Corey. Glad you got that out.
Listen, also, if you do die, just know that we'll use our upcoming Trudge Report special guest to contact you.
That's right. We will.
Listen,
Dude, that's sick.
I can promise you one thing. You bastards don't need to be worried about contacting me. I'll be
he's coming after us, Greg.
Place, dude. I'll be all over it. Also,
he's going to be in every meeting in Port St. Lucie from here until the end of time, just flipping chairs and like
pulling shit off the walls.
Cups. Yeah.
Just know if anything bad happens,
toilets, all of it.
All of a sudden, every treatment center in Port St. Lucie shuts down. Yeah, that was me. Speaking of Port St. Lucie, real quick, we don't have to dwell on this, but the fuck is wrong with this place, dude? I read that there is a high rate of what I think is pronounced glioblastoma in Port St. Lucie.
I don't even know what that means.
It's basically a brain cancer. And it's in Port St. Lucie, and it's very rare, but there's a high concentration in fucking St. Lucie County. I'm like, really? Why did I move here? I'm drinking the water. I don't want to do this. Bill, what are you doing here, dude?
I'm leaving, dude. Talking about brain cancer and fucking.
We're just letting Corey rock and roll. He's just getting it all out tonight.
I'm just saying, I just want to move. And I
summary point, Corey. What are we saying here? There's amoeba in the water. What was it?
Something like that.
St. Lucie County has a high rate of, I think it's pronounced glioblastoma, which is I think it's like a rare brain cancer. I saw this on Facebook, so I'm thinking it's true. But
I'll tell you what's wrong with that city. I'll tell you what's wrong. Not St. Lucie County, because there are some nice parts of Fort Pierce that are considered St. Lucie County. Port St. Lucie in general. You got no sidewalks anywhere. What kind of neighborhoods don't have any sidewalks? Think about it. You got no sidewalks in your neighborhood.
I have some.
No, you don't. There's no beach access. There's no beach access. You either got to go to Jensen or to Fort Pierce to get to the beach, and you're literally like a stone's throw from it. And there's no downtown. There's no downtown.
They're kind of building it with that big thing. Did you see the big thing?
Might have to be a little more specific than that.
Building a big monument thing.
Oh yeah.
Where?
Stupid ass heart. Whatever.
In like city center of St. Lucie, like that area.
Off US 1?
All the way in central, like Port St. Lucie, the city of Port St. Lucie, where there's the pavers roads and the little city center.
I drove past it once. It's really unimpressive. Just like the rest of the shithole. Dude, it's so dumb. And I haven't talked about any of you. No, well, Greg has heard some of it. I haven't talked to any of you guys about this yet. A year and a half, maybe 2 years. I'm going to be living up north again. See ya.
See you.
Okay.
I just don't like it here. That's not true. It's fine, but it's not my favorite. As long as I don't die.
It's Port St. Lucie. It's ruined your mind.
As long as
No, you're right.
As long as he doesn't die, Bill. That was the previous segment he was talking about getting blood drawn and getting tested and thinking he's going to die and making sure he's alive.
Isn't that always a caveat to anything, though?
That's why you don't get blood work done. It's not. It's just whatever. But yeah, I don't want to live here. I love you guys, though. I mean, I'll stay in touch.
I love you, man.
We love you too.
I got.
How's it going, Bill?
It's going well. I'm not suffering from any water with the brain cancer shit.
No amoebas eating your brain. That's good.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Working hard. First day of school today. I'm sure, Sean, you probably covered that, Corey, as well. Congrats.
Oh, Corey covered that. Corey covered that as well. Yeah.
What did I cover?
First day of school for the kids.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that.
He said it was a disaster in his household.
Oh, well, it wasn't great at the actual school. I don't think that it was very well organized. I'm not a fan. They moved the time back a little bit. So my daughter is coming for the group, the group team construction meeting in the morning, I guess, a lot this year. That's okay. She's going to learn how to run things. So that's all right.
Taking after her daddy.
Yeah. So she embraces it, and it worked out. So I think she had a great day. And guys, secret pro tip. I had her bring flowers to the teacher on the first day. That's right. We know the value of a good bribe in this household. We're getting ahead, baby. We're getting ahead. Greg, write that down.
What?
Nice.
They don't just hand out apples anymore, eh? You got to up the game. You got to spend $60 on a bouquet.
Now it's $20 gift cards to every effing teacher they have at Christmas time. That's what it is now.
Yeah, they get paid. They deserve it. I could never do that job.
They don't make a lot of money.
Corey, you could never do that job. Greg,
no, absolutely not.
Fun fact, that's what I originally went to college for. And then after a year, I was like, there's no
Greg
way.
would fucking slam. He's one of the teachers that slams the kid through the fucking desk. Gets the
Where's Jeffrey? Oh, he's locked in the closet again.
Yeah, gets the school suit.
Mr. Phillips locked him in the closet.
Dude, it gave me, like, especially after going and like sitting in on different like classrooms here and there, like it gave me a vast appreciation for like those really good teachers that we had in middle school, high school. It's like, dude, how did you put up with my antics all the time? Like
my dad's one of those, man. My dad's like, he is beloved, or he's retired from teaching now, but he won teacher of the year like 7 out of 12 years he was there. They loved him. He wasn't the greatest at getting his grades in on time to the dean and to his higher ups, but he was like a great teacher, and he just has the knack for it.
Yeah, shout out to the teachers. You know, they don't.
But he did high school too. He also did high school at like a small private Christian school, probably a little different than out of control fifth graders or like a big public school inner city. You know what I mean? Lot different than that. So,
dude, can you imagine like being a teacher nowadays with smartphones in the hand of every single student?
Fun fact about that is Martin County, I think maybe the whole Treasure Coast of Martin County passed a whole new like law on that, or whatever you call it.
Which is
where teachers have a lot more power to take them motherfuckers. Pardon my language.
Here's the thing.
Take those things away now.
Here's the thing. I want to hear opinions on this actually, if we have time. So
Corey, it's our podcast. We got all the time in the world, baby.
It's my podcast, but okay, whatever. The school district I went to in New Jersey, they sent out I saw it on Facebook. They sent out a notice.
Is that Penis Grove High School?
That's correct. That is correct. They sent out a notice saying, it's real funny, Sean. This already takes me a while to get out, dude.
Time out. He's been wearing this hoodie that says Penn's Grove, PENNS, and every time I look at it looks like Penis Grove. So I don't know.
The T-shirt, guys.
And I'm not the only one that thinks that. Sorry, Corey. Go ahead.
Well, it takes me 10 minutes to get a statement out anyway, Sean. So you're just prolonging this. All right. So they sent out a notice saying that cell phones would be collected at the door, basically. So like your kid can bring a cell phone, but it's getting collected at the door. I, for one, would be like, the fuck no. If I give my kid a cell phone, that's going to stay on that kid's person. Okay. It's there for a reason. If my kid is on it too much, being a distraction, whatever, you call my ass and I'm going to handle my kid the way it should be run in America. Well, Yes, Sean. Parents should be parenting their kids, not the fucking school.
But the issue is that parents aren't parenting their kids. That's the issue.
I understand.
Then your kid gets left behind. Then your kid sucks.
I understand your point in theory. I don't think they should be taken at the beginning of school. I don't.
I'm not saying that the kid. I'm not saying the teacher can never take it, but like, it's not going to be like you walk in the door and hand away your phone.
That's what I mean. And
honestly, the security in our schools in America hasn't proven to me that my kid shouldn't have a phone.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. I don't think they should be taken like that. I also think, first off, teachers, faculty, staff, they don't have time to be calling hundreds of parents a day, because that's what's happening. Probably even more at those big public schools. I think the teachers, which is what they've done in Martin County, the teachers are allowed, I forget exactly, they're either allowed to, if they're on it in class, like during class, they're allowed to take it either for the remainder of that class and then they give it back at the end of class, or it might even be the remainder of the day and they get it back. I think it's just the remainder of that class, right? Because if they have study hall or lunch or whatever, they're allowed to have it and be on it. I'm totally on board with that. The teachers should have autonomy in their classroom to take those away, with or without. They shouldn't have to call the parents. As a matter of fact, if I did all the paperwork for our kids, all the emergency contact, everything, and there's a thing on there about cell phone policy this year. My kids don't have them, so I didn't read it in detail, but they shouldn't have to contact the parents and, little Johnny, we gave it back to him at the end of class. Let them have autonomy to take it for that class and they give it back at the end of class. I'm fine with that.
I'm just saying, I was raised, believe it or not, somewhat decently, where if
we know
the teacher told me not to do something, I'd fucking do it. You know what I mean? Also,
to Greg's point, parents aren't teaching that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
We're the only few, Corey. We got to stick together.
Then we need to round up those parents and beat the hell out of them.
Sure.
I think their own
The My
kids
Cell
do
Phone,
that
My Choice
themselves.
campaign.
No, yeah, Bill, stop. What's your take on it, Bill?
It's my cell phone, my choice. Look, if you're going to allow them to have phones, you can't take them. Like, it's just a
Not
disaster.
even for the class.
No, but if you're on the phone, it's taken and you're out of the class or whatever. Serious discipline, right? Yeah, get out of my classroom. If you're on your phone, get out of my classroom.
Either get off your phone or get out of my classroom. Okay.
I mean, how are you supposed to like have a legitimate exam in the age of cell phones, especially if kids are allowed to retain their cell phone the entire time?
Right, I mean, exactly. But guys, quick point to this. I want to ask you guys because we all have kids around the same age, and it's something I've debated. What age will you be giving your kid a cell phone? Like, here you go. Go out into the world with a cell phone in your hand.
Well, let me start this off because I don't have one. I have a stepson, so like most of my decisions defer to Mama Bear. But
if you had
we did get him because he goes to his dad's every other weekend and stuff like that, and so we got him an Apple Watch. Now this watch is like it's set up to where he can only call the contacts that we have put in there. We can shut the watch off during school hours.
Oh, just like Gabby did to Corey.
So yeah,
yeah. Okay.
So basically, like if he needed to call 911 from the watch, it would work, But other than that, like the watch doesn't.
Has he tried it yet?
Mess around.
Has he tried calling 911?
Listen, don't say that.
You go to your house, you get swatted.
Don't say that too loud around here, okay? But no, he enjoys it. But here's the thing: is like it's cool. It's fun and new to him, but he's still not getting like roped into it. Because my biggest concern is it's not even. Yeah, there's a lot of creeps and weirdos out there on the internet. I think you got to be very, very careful about what you expose your children to, because a lot of these, I'm just going to make a general blanket statement here, but I've seen it firsthand from people that I know right here. But like, you let your 8-9-year-old daughter have a TikTok and a Snapchat, and then like have her own cell phone, and the heaven forbid something horrible happens, and then you're like, well, how did this person get in touch with how do you think you allowed it? You allowed the door to be opened, but I also think too the effects of if you've read any studies and stuff up on it, like the little dopamine surges, we all know what those are like, being addicts and alcoholics, right? The artificial dopamine surges and everything that occur shouldn't occur in children at a certain age, and that's a lot of what's doing it is the phones, the video games, all that. It's artificially changing the way that their dopamine receptors work. So I think you got to be I'm not telling anybody what to do with their kid, but I think you've got to be very well informed and watchful of that stuff.
All right, hard age, cell phone in the hand with the kid walking out the door.
17.
15.
Wow.
15. Corey.
Really?
I was 15 when I got mine. Catherine was 13. I'll say this. All right, let me back up real quick. No earlier than 12. I will begin to have the conversation with my wife after 12 years old. Only begin, but it highly, highly depends on the maturity level of that kid.
See, it's hard. So I was gonna say 12, but it's hard though, because look, I was around 11 or 12. I lived out of state away from my father, and getting a phone just made it easier for me to talk to him and stuff. And I talked to my friends. Now in that time, this is 2008 or 9, phones were actually phones. This is way back, right? By the way, I might.
You mean in our day, Corey?
I might be the only person on this podcast that had a smartphone in high school. Am I right?
I had a Nokia brick phone.
That's right,
freshman year of high school, and I did some nefarious things to get it on my own. And my aunt took it off me and threw it away. I was fucking pissed.
I'll tell
I
you
had
right
the
now,
Motorola Razor in high school.
The coolest thing,
I had a smartphone.
The coolest thing that they had available when I was in high school was the Nextel, where you could chirp and use it as a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I used to play
Snake.
Snake, dude. They remember Snake?
Yeah, Snake, baby.
Oh, I love
Well,
Snake.
dude, Snake.
Ooh-wee.
But my
Love
point
Snake.
is, the phones are different today, so it is kind of hard. Like I don't know if I can imagine giving my 12-year-old.
I think we all agree though the
Smartphone.
phone had to be like heavily
Oh,
regulated.
sure.
Like,
Heavily monitored, parental
I'm not good with the
controls.
social media thing.
And that is the cool thing about nowadays is you can get phones geared for kids that are only the numbers. Like I have a lot at work. I have a lot of the teenagers that are in foster care because the foster parents have very strict rules, as they should, that have the kids have cell phones. But like legitimately, I can't even call the kid unless the foster parent programs my number in the phone, that kind of thing. And the internet's restricted. So I'm on board for that, but here's the other thing, Corey, I get your point, and Bill, I understand with Avia going back and forth between you and her mom, but I know where my kids are. My kids are never in a place where I can't get a hold of them, you know what I mean? Or I don't know where they are or stuff like that. So not yet anyways. I know eventually they might be, but for now,
So that's the big win.
So I would say 12. I'll have that conversation.
I would say 13 like ish, but like 15 to like get the functional phone and not like the fully functioning social media and all that other stuff.
High school, once you're in high school, that's different. I'll consider it a little more leeway, but not before that.
Fair take. Something I've wondered recently.
Yeah,
It's fair.
The flip side of that too, real quick, is that because we all know, like, growing up the way we grew up, and drugs are bad, okay? Don't do drugs, okay? And then look where all of us ended up, right? So it's like, I think somehow, somewhat, like you have to teach the taboo nature of it, but also like the responsibility of it, and hope that they do well with it,
Like anything else, it starts at the house. It starts at home with the upbringing and the teaching. You're right.
And also the straight pepper diet doesn't always work, because when you try to fully evade somebody from something and the rest of society is doing it, it's almost better in my mind, after like looking at this for a while with my own kid, to wean them onto something in incremental doses based off of their ability to handle and responsibility level.
I like that. I like that.
Well, I hope to have like an open like door with my kids. You know what I mean? Like,
don't we all?
Like, did your parents ever like say like, hey, listen, I know you're gonna like experiment with like alcohol and whatever. Oh no,
mine didn't.
Oh, what?
Never.
Really? My mom was totally
mine
like, if you get yourself into a situation, like, you can call me and I will pick you up.
Maybe they said, I'm sure they said something like that, but I don't
grandma
remember.
Was like, Billy, if you bring drugs into this house, I'm gonna whoop your
whipping
ass.
your ass. Yeah. I don't ever remember. I think I was told that I'm, just gonna go to hell. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Mom. Mom never said that, but I don't ever remember the conversation of like, oh, I know you're going to experiment and just be honest with me. I remember very like, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Don't let me catch your ass getting high or doing drugs.
Not that I'm knocking that approach though.
Yeah.
It didn't work, for me.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I would sit my kids down and be like, listen, if you do drugs, call me. I'm just saying
I got an eighth of weed right now.
but I do want them to know that they can come to me, and
Daddy needs to pay this Comcast
if they
bill.
attempt to be honest with me, then
it's going to go a lot better than them lying.
Yeah, I'm not going to drop the hammer on them.
I would agree with that. I can vividly remember being in the purple Dodge Caravan that my mom had. I had already been getting high for a few years and started getting into a bunch of trouble. And my mom does not remember this, and she will deny it till her dying day. But I remember her saying that maybe one day I'll get high with you. And it was in the context of like, if you stop getting in so much trouble and shape up your life, and you want to be like responsible and like you still want to smoke, like that kind of context. Those weren't her exact words, but I vividly remember her saying like, maybe one day, kind of like, maybe even one day I'll get high with you kind of thing. And I remember that, and I've talked about that, and she does not remember that whatsoever.
Sean, I have one of those with my uncle. Literally, he said to me when I was just moved up, he said, "Get 5 years and we'll have a shot of whiskey together." Yeah. Wow. Remember, this guy was completely like, leave me alone, basically at this point.
Greg, these guys have reservations, Greg.
Our family members do not.
Good
stuff. All right, boys. It's a little more than halfway through. Let's get into our recovery topic. And this is I'm going to do my best to explain this topic, but it's kind of a general. It goes in a couple different directions, but it is something that's been very prevalent in my life currently, and has been at various times over my sobriety. But it's kind of the idea of it's like two and threefold. How do we deal with people in recovery, in the rooms of recovery, that continue relapsing and continue coming back, right? That's one part of it. And more specifically, how do we deal with and react to and respond to good friends of ours that had substantial sobriety time, clean time, multiple years, however many, whether that's 2, 3, 6, 10, and relapse? How do we deal with them? Like, what does that look like? And I'll get it started real quick. I think I've experienced this recently, and it's really easy for me with the person that I'm not super close to, or just the person that kind of has a hard time staying sober and puts 3, 6, 9 months together and comes back and goes out and comes back. Because our literature talks about that, how we deal with them. It's really easy for me to be loving and tolerant, and like that mindset of like, we don't shoot our wounded. I'll help anybody that says they want help. It's it's my job to believe them if they say they're ready, kind of thing, and all that stuff. It's been pretty easy over my sobriety to be that person, right? As a matter of fact, there's that line in one of our literatures. I think they're talking about our old whiskey and milk buddy, and he talks about he got drunk half a dozen times in rapid succession. On each of these occasions, we worked with him, carefully reviewing what had happened. I think that's a powerful statement, because it says that we don't give up on anyone, right? 6 times in and out of the rooms of recovery over however long of a span, and each time we work with him. So it's easy for me to take that line with those kind of newcomers. When it's someone who I was close with or I knew pretty well and has had substantial sobriety time, and they relapse, whether it was a shock, which it always seems like it's a shock in the moment, and then you start to dig into it and realize that like they had stopped doing a lot of the things that were helping their sobriety, right? um but that dynamic is different, and I have found it more difficult to take the same approach with someone like that than I have with the newcomer who just can't seem to stay sober very long and keeps coming in and out. So I'll leave it right there for a minute. Greg, do you want to go first on this?
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Nobody ever made me leader or policeman or governor or anything like that of anybody else's recovery, and thank God for
Not
that.
yet anyway, but I hear that Doge is looking for a new leader, so
they might be looking. But
it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be the best thing you've ever seen.
Mr. G.A. Phillips, fantastic human being.
He's a good American. But no, for real, like, and thank God for that, because it's not my to judge your recovery or whatever. I'm just here to help. It does get frustrating, right? It does get frustrating for those guys that keep bouncing in and out, especially when you invest personal time in them, especially when you're, going out of your way to show them the way, right? But then we got to remember, the simplest way I've ever heard it broken down is really the truest, is that we're all addicts and alcoholics. This is what we do, right? We drink, we get high, unless we all suffer from an egotistical disease, right?
Yeah.
And we're all, without God in our lives, without a higher power in our lives, we're all narcissistic to the core, right? And we have this air of self-importance. And I think that, obviously we need a spiritual solution to fix that, right? But too often I think that we kind of set ourselves up sometimes for, we talked about it a few episodes back, but the whole is it fair to label us and what we do in recovery groups as cult-like and right. That type of behavior? And I think all of us, having gone through it, we can all sit here and say no, but we do see where some of those people are coming from through the behaviors of some of our groups, right? And this is one of those things for me that does it, is when we act, we collectively as a group, we shouldn't be shunning people. Again, there's no cult leaders out here, and if there are, I haven't met any yet, and nobody's asked me to sign up for the human sacrifice or anything like that. So, but this is where we can get into that territory, right? Of we're going to shun these people because they just won't see things our way, and they won't do what we're asking them to do, and they're not taking it seriously, and they're not for real. Now, I've watched some of those people take some other people back out with them, and that's hard to watch, and that pisses me off a little bit inside, because I know how, as well as all you guys do, and countless other people, like how life or death this thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like, until you've ever had to ask yourself the question of, oh man, would that person still be alive today if I just would have done something different? Which we all know inherently the answer to that question. But when you've had to deal with that of like, did my actions or my inactions inadvertently affect that? We know how serious this is, right? So to us, seeing that happen time and time again, it's tough. But at the same time, I am just here to be helpful. I'm just here to spread the message that was freely given to me and to help other people, So I'm going to keep doing that. And if you want our way of life, we're here, the doors are always open. And sure, there's caveats to that. I'm eager to hear what you guys have to say on it, but that's pretty much the stance I take, man. Just every time you come back, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to try to keep the same message that I always have.
Good stuff. Billy, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, thanks, Greg and Sean, for the topic. Unfortunately, I do have a lot of experience with this topic. Good and bad, mostly bad, I would say. I would say over my years of being fortunate enough to be around these kind of situations, Greg talked about, the pro side of making sure I'm doing everything I can to offer the illumination of the path. And over experience, I mean, just today, I still am learning things, because I think that the key is when a person relapses that you're close friends with, it is really important for us to not try to categorize that person as normal,
right,
and to not let them close to your heart, because they can really hurt you, and that's just the truth. And I've made that mistake a few times, and I mean, I let certain things get to points where I'm dealing with somebody that's, let's say they're drinking again, and I'm making excuses for them and this and that, and I'm not being helpful to them. And then the next thing you know, some sort of disrespectful situation happens, and then I make an excuse for them, and then I make another one, and then I'm like, I have to understand that this person and I are no longer on the same wavelength, and they can harm me if I allow them into my aura, like my soul. We only have so much energy, so much bandwidth per day to export to the world and import whatever's coming back. And for me, it's not worth it. If it's somebody, even if I love them to death, it's like love somebody to death, literally. I had a situation where I let some things slide, and I end up going a little over the top in my accumulated response. And I didn't handle it the way I should have handled it. The way I should have handled it was to just completely distance myself, like to a 98% degree, And so my point in saying that is, I know me, and I know us, and I know the nature, right, and the characteristics. We're very manipulative, and when you don't want somebody to be hurt and they're hurt, it's like those movies where somebody gets bit by Dracula, but you love them, and then you're like, like, no, it's gonna be okay, and you're bringing them along, and they're slowly transforming into this harmful figure, and it's the old adage of the rattlesnake in the basket, and you look down, you see a rattlesnake, he's like, let me out of the basket, let me out of the basket. You're like, no, he's like, no, it's fine, I'm not gonna bite you. And then you pick the rattlesnake up, and what does he do? He bites the hell out of you. And you look at him and you go, why'd you bite me? And he's like, because I'm a rattlesnake, you fucking idiot. And that's the same thing that we deal with, because I want to love everybody. I want to see the good in me or in everybody, but it's our job, I think, especially as we get more mature in recovery, to kind of separate that stuff, compartmentalize it, and realize I can't save everybody. I'll be a conduit when somebody wants to get right. I can't love that person anymore. I can't, whatever it needs to be. But I think I've experienced a lot of that. I've experienced some people who relapsed and came back, but is it ever like really the same for somebody who gets like long-term recovery and relapse as I think about it? Like very rarely does somebody really come back to the way we want them to be. Like we have this nostalgia and this memory of somebody, and it's kind of becomes blurred into a figment. So not saying that I don't love people or anything like that. And I'm just saying, and I will continue to try to bring them along, but I kind of learned these lessons through failure, as most good lessons. So,
well, and that's something that I'm curious about too. With that is like, after Corey shares, because I want to hear what he has to say. But what do you guys think? Why that is? Why do we not get that same version back? We can.
Sean,
I've got some.
That's
a great. I got some thoughts on that too after Corey again, because Bill, that's kind of right. That's like, and I know we've talked a little bit too, but that's kind of right where I'm at with the situation as well. Yeah. Good stuff. That's your cue, Mitchner.
Oh, can I talk now? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of things that you guys said, and I mean, it's God, it sucks that it's the reality of what we're dealing with. I feel like when this happens, we become like the loved ones that we so often talk about when we're helping somebody get sober.
The ones that we hurt when we were drinking, you mean?
The ones that we hurt. But like we sit there and we try to take somebody through the process of recovery and talk about like the amends they're going to make and what they did to their loved ones and stuff. But then you get close to somebody in sobriety and they go back out and you end up becoming one of the loved ones getting hurt, and it's like, right. and that's not even my main emphasis. You become one of the loved ones and you have to kind of assume the role as best you can as well. And what I mean by that is like when my dad was like, don't contact me anymore, when my friends were like, hey, stop calling me, when people cut me off, like we're in a weird position, right? Because we want to be the hand that reaches out to them and when they're ready, like bring them back into this way of life. But at the same time, like again, we're their loved ones. Like I'm sitting at Thanksgiving dinner with, people that I've met in recovery, right? So it's like, in one particular circumstance that I'm thinking of, I had a buddy that was struggling, and for a long time it was, well, you know what you got to do, and there were many phone calls and like blah blah blah, and it was a bunch of frothy emotional appeal, but like also what else was there to really say? It's all theory. It's really up to the person who is afflicted to do anything about it, right? Until there was a couple bad instances that had happened, and this person, he along with this person's spouse and some other people said like, this is probably what you should do, and that person was like, fuck that. And that's when I was like, well, fuck you, buddy, I'm not talking to you. And I love that person, but I did not did not speak to that person until I heard they took a step in the right direction. And it's kind of weird, right? Because I don't want to play God with somebody's life, because and I check that a lot. I go like, I don't know. I try to remember, like, I don't know what's best for everybody. But in this case, it wasn't just me that felt a certain way. It was a few of his loved ones, and it was like, you need to go do this. And when it was like, no, I'm not fucking doing that, it was like, then no, I'm not fucking talking to you. And that's just what it is. So I like the cutoff method when it comes to a certain point. And it's not about, I wasn't mad. Well, I was mad about a couple things, but not mad enough to not speak to him. Not at all. It was literally like, I have to add my silence to this. You know what I mean? Like, you add your voice to support somebody. I had to like take away my voice and take away, like, listen, I'm not gonna stick around while you do this. I'm just not. I got other shit. I got my life, and like, you're gonna see that people are gonna go about their day, and the world is gonna pass you by just like it did to the rest of us, unless something changes, right? Lastly, and you guys I think you're about to talk about it. Like Greg just posed that question. Like, why is it that they don't, regain that that magic they once had? It seems that at least the four of us for today have. And I don't really know either, but I know that I watched that with another friend. Had many periods of sobriety since his several years, right? He had several years, he went back out, and then he's had many since, ranging from, a few months to a year or so, and blah, blah, blah. And it's never been the same. And I'm not even sure I can say a why. I'm interested to hear what you guys say. I just know that it makes it that much more dire that we hold on to what we have, because that goes to show, even if we get some resemblance of it, that it's never going to be. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that because I don't want to place that on anybody either. Like, I want people to get sober again if they can, but absolutely, it's just. But man, you got to hang on to it. That's my point. So let me hear what you guys got to say.
Is it all right if I go real quick?
Yeah.
I get almost emotional thinking about this because I start thinking about those people. I think, and that's, Bill, what you brought up, and Corey, what you just touched on too, and the question you posed, Greg. That's the hardest part, dealing with someone that I knew very intimately for many years, who had substantial time. That's the hardest part, is dealing with them. But I think the simplest, easiest, it's the ego. Us, people that have had substantial sobriety time, that have been lit up by the Spirit, and we're doing the deal for, again, however long it was, and they inevitably stop doing certain things, and it leads back, the insanity returns, and they drink again. I think it's real, from what I've seen, it is really, really difficult for the ego to be lessened again. Like, it's one thing when we first, when we finally get serious about it, whether we came in and out for years, kind of like you, Bill, like in and out of rehabs and all that stuff for years and years. But when you got to Stewart and like you got serious, yeah, you were still a hot mess in a lot of ways, but like you got serious and you jumped in, right? Same with Corey, same with all of us, really. When you lose that, and to quote Corey, when you lose the magic, I think it's so difficult to let God take that ego away to the extent necessary to regain that spiritual awakening and have that magic happen again. And that's like, I think I can think of multiple people who I would put in that category, and that ego is so blaring. And that's the most difficult part, because it's like, hey, I knew this person for who they were for however long they were sober when they were in the middle of it. And now they're not that person. They're not even remotely close to that person. Right. That's the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I agree 100% with what Sean and Corey very well said about removing your voice. I think that's hard. That's easier said than done for me sometimes.
Sure.
My thought as well on this is, I agree. I think that what we are doing through our own bias is we're actually not putting enough respect and grace on recovery, just in human bias terms, of the rarity that it is to actually recover. Because if you could quantify by metric a ratio of humanity attempts at recovery to actually recovered people, it's probably, I don't know what, but think about how high that number would really be. And another thing we do is it's usually a personalized story. It seems like the people that I first got sober with, it was a lot more intimate to me with when I took more, not responsibility, but more of like I was a character in the story of that recovery. So I wanted it really bad for them to come back. Or if I'm like was mentoring and taking somebody through the process and I saw them go all the way through and then fall, I wanted them to come all the way back. And the truth is, it's just such a scant chance of recovery. I think at a time that Greg and I were at the same place and you guys were all out, we would meet on Monday nights. We caused recoveries that should have never happened, and they were like a comet, like they came and they went and they were, I remember Sean once said this about Brian, but it was kind of true in the same effect of like, these people technically probably would have never even got to that point, but we saw them like they did because they did the work at that time. But even today, when I see somebody constantly falling off the rail, sometimes I think it is very glaring. But sometimes, Sean, I think too, you would agree, is like sometimes it's like one or two things that they keep missing, that they just can't, they can't do 90 and 90. They just like they get to 70 and they're like, I already had this before. I got it. It's not like that. Drop me off at the freaking hall. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's not the same. And it's just a lot of times they want to just jump the small little things that you have to bury yourself. And I tell people is like, go meet the people who aren't in there yet. The people on day one, like with you, and build a story with them because it becomes a lot more personal.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Well, I think right along with that point, just thinking back on it, man, like, and I can get used to suffering, right? I think we all can to a certain extent. I can get used to especially physical pain, not living in the best circumstances or anything like that, and certainly emotional pain. But like when I came to Florida, I was like all around just a broken human, right? And I think to your guys' point, like it is hard to replicate that because again, we suffer from this egotistical type disease, right? So we're always, I need a drink. I need $20. I need a bag. I need a shot. I need. And yet we won't, when we get to this point, we won't just be like, I need help.
Right. I don't know what I need. Somebody else, please tell me. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so I think that those two things, it's like it is, everybody's like, oh, my rock bottom can always get lower. And there's truth to that statement. I'm not saying that, but like, I've never in my life, and I've had some not so great times of sobriety. I've had some people call me out of like, dude, you are not living the way you were, and something is up and you need to go to God and you need to fix this. But I've never been broken like that, where I was just in a sense malleable, right? Because I had nothing left. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where we get with some of these folks, man. And my heart goes out to them, dude, because, like I said, I want to be there for them. But I like what you guys said, too, is like, yeah, sometimes I do have to take a step back. Sometimes I do. And it does remind me, like, since I've left Florida, like, I've had many people reach out to me about like mentorship, especially like ever since COVID, and we've got like this Zoom nowadays and stuff like that. And people have reached out to me that I knew from back in the day. Hey, can you mentor me from, we can just do it via Zoom. And while it's not on me to tell somebody, no, I'm not going to help you. But we have to have an honest, frank conversation. Are you doing this because I am 1,200 miles away? Because I can't check you on your behavior in and outside of meetings. And why are you coming to ask me? Are you coming to ask me because you really think I can provide something of value to you? Or are you asking me because you want some kind of easier, softer way because I'm not right there with you, you know?
Yeah.
Which again, I'll talk to anybody, be it Zoom, phone, FaceTime, whatever, you know, I'll read a book with you, you know, but at a certain point you got to cut the shit and get real with yourself, you know? So.
Yep.
And I'll just say something real quick, man. Shout out to the families of Jordan Glick, Josh Healy, Brian Beatty. You know, these are real tangible names of people who have died in these circumstances. And I only say that because I have utmost respect for them, but that they, you know, gave their life in this disease, and it is very real. And it's very hard for us to deal with as people, but we're here as a community to get through that together, you know, and I just think about guys like that, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think I'd leave everybody, not just you guys, but the listeners, with these couple thoughts, because they're what I was taught, right? And one is, we refuse none who wish to recover, right? That's in our guidelines. That's at the heart of what we do. If you say you're ready and you're serious, it's our job to believe you and provide the tools necessary, the information, right? I think that, to all y'all's point, and Corey, you and I talked about this the other day, is like, sobriety is an absolute gift. When you have it and you've had the awakening and you have that connectedness with God and others and the program, the fellowship, all that stuff, like, it is an absolute gift. And I must do anything and everything I can on a daily basis to keep that gift. And it doesn't mean that if I fall short one day, I'm going to lose that gift. But man, you put enough days together in a row, or just in general, of not protecting that gift, and you might just effing lose it. And lastly, what we've all talked about is, it makes the work we do with the willing that much more important, right? The ones that are truly willing to get well and have that relationship with their higher powers. It makes that work we do with them and the work that was done with us, with our mentors, that much more important. So I love you guys. And Corey, you'll definitely be the first one picked off if any of us relapse. It'll totally be you first. But,
Yeah, right.
He'll stay sober out of spite. Love you guys. Thank you. Great topic.
I've taken out 2 mentors already. I'm working on your ass.
True. That's true. Go ahead,
Corey. I'll remain friends with you too, though.
but from a distance, though.
No, that's my thing. I'll still be in the weeds with you.
Shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in requests for mailbag, or send in a mailbag request for topics, questions, comments to any of these handles. Remember, in all sincerity, we are all here if anyone wants to talk about recovery and our experiences, or if you are struggling with some form of addiction. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night, God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. See you next week. Deuces.